What's up, guys? We are back. This is The Real Deal with Casey and Jason, where we talk real life, real experiences, and occasionally real estate. Might have to bring up some real estate today. It's been a while.
Yeah, I think we could talk some real estate today at some point.
Well, we're going to start this off. First off with a shout out, Cafe on the Bay, Tammy.
What's up?
We all got them.
Tammy, Chris, Tyler, Nate. I'm probably missing somebody now.
Appreciate you.
Sarah.
Yeah.
Everyone.
The whole crew.
Cafe on the Bay.
The whole crew over there on Cafe on the Bay. Keeping us rocking. It's a holiday weekend.
Yeah.
We're at
Memorial Day.
Friday, Memorial Day. And we're going to start just by firing some shots right off the bat. Because we missed something when we had our buddy Remo in here.
Oh, boy.
So, Steve, why don't you introduce yourself, and then you can just share a little bit about the state run that we had.
Yeah, so I'm Stephen McClay. They brought me on here to kind of talk about a variety of topics. And I own my own business, remodeling kitchens, baths, decks, whatever I'm interested in that time when people reach out to me.
Yes, sir.
Man, I'm a husband. I got a son now, 9-month-old.
Father.
Yeah, I got a lot going on. I mean, just like everybody else. So, we got to talk about Remo. Sorry. First time on a podcast. But Remo conveniently left out that we routed Elkton on our way to a state championship run. We lost the game by 1, but we were in the final game.
That's right.
Big learning experience just in life in general. I mean, we were a terrible baseball team. We didn't score. I think we went 28 innings. I think that's what it was. There's an article.
Early
we went
on,
28 scoreless innings to start the season.
Was it the start of the season? That's
we
wild.
sucked. We were terrible. We lost like 5 straight
Wow,
games.
Harvard Tech smoked us.
And then we went on a run, like just a magical run. And that's kind of, I think that bonded us for life.
Yeah, that was so much fun. So, yeah, if you guys...
we love you, Remo, but next time, give all the facts.
Yeah.
That's all.
So, we all met, too. Like, we've been friends a long time. I mean, Little League, dude. We all played, since we were very young.
Yeah. I remember you from as far back as memory goes. I know most of you guys. You know, it was,
but the one caveat was that you went to Chesapeake City Elementary.
I had a weird.
I mean, lived in Oakville.
Oakville.
We were kids, so I couldn't comprehend that. Like, why is this guy not going to our school?
Yeah, I did not go to the elementary school that was 5 minutes down the road. I went to the one that was 15 minutes down the road. My grandmother was a secretary there. I don't know how it all worked out, but I went to a different school. So it was cool, though, because we all come together. You know, we live in a unique spot where the elementary schools lead to a middle school, and then the middle school leads to a high school. So I was kind of exposed to different groups of people that were getting introduced to each other later in life, but at an early point in life.
You knew our buddy Charlie probably a lot earlier than we did.
Oh, Charlie was my best friend. Right? Oh, yeah. Charlie and I go back to 4 or 5 years old, like crazy stuff. There's pictures of us. I mean, you wouldn't even recognize us unless you know who
so
we
were.
were.
You were in Chesapeake City Little League too.
Oh yeah.
You played for ICA.
We had to play against you guys. I mean, come on.
That's
Maze
crazy.
talked about it. You knew
that.
we were enemies within, early on in life. We had to play against each other.
Yeah, because you played for the ICA. And the
ICA was like light blue, right?
Oh yeah, we had the
one
Jackets.
team that
We had the Jackets because Mr. Bellis hooked it up.
And the one team that I considered to be the green team. You played on the green team at some point.
Oh,
because
we were the Gators, man. We had a stuffed gator. We had a stuffed gator we would put on the dugout. God, what was it? Who sponsored that? Might have been Brentwood.
Was it Brentwood? Yeah.
It was like a very green. You know what I mean?
That might have been Brentwood.
Brentwood Deli.
Yeah, Brentwood Deli.
Remember County Bank back in the day?
H&B Plumbing.
Yeah.
All the local spots, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, VFW had a...
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
Buddy's son played for VFW.
Dairy Cream always was a sponsor.
Dairy Cream, they were a red team. Yeah.
Definitely a unique place to grow up. I know you guys talk about a lot just being from a small town, and there's a lot of small towns, and it's cool to be from one, but there's definitely
one of the
we're
greatest
on every
in America.
list of top 10 small towns to visit in Maryland.
It seems like we really are.
Yeah,
I think on like the East Coast. Right?
Yeah.
I definitely think so. It's so cool now too. You'll see in a couple years when your kid starts playing T-ball in Little League.
Yeah.
Now I go to the field and I see literally coaches on other teams, people just walking around the park. All these people I haven't seen in like 15 years all have kids, and we're all over there at the ball field now.
It's a whole new cycle of life. It's wild.
I've only been over there like a couple times, like recently. And like you said, like everywhere you turn around, it's like, I haven't seen that person forever. It's pretty cool.
It is really cool. It's pretty cool. So our kids now, like I have, so I coach T-ball for Carter's team.
Right here in Chesapeake?
Yeah.
Okay. Do they still have the same set? Like, is there Chesapeake, Cecilton? Like, is that still happening?
Cecilton's not a thing anymore, so everyone just plays out of Chesapeake City.
I got you.
But, yeah, like Casey Gibson, his daughter's on my team. He coaches with me, and then
Graff's got a kid in the league.
Yeah,
Tyler, Joe Graff, but he's a little bit older.
Mm-hmm. I swear, every team has someone that I'm like I haven't seen since high school.
The next generation.
Yeah, it's so cool.
And you see their kids, and you probably think, are they going to be like the parents? And it takes you back. Is he going to be a catcher? Or he's not playing yet, right? What's your son's name? I'm sorry,
Carter. Yeah.
So what's that going to be like?
Yeah.
Getting to coach him. That's what I kind of think about too. Is what path will little Levi take, and can I guide him on the right one? And we had a lot of good parents within that organization too. My dad coached me. Your dad coached. Real big parts of that, and I think we were really lucky in that aspect.
Oh, absolutely.
A lot of people that were like really cared about the community.
Yeah, and they were dedicated to their kids for sure. I mean,
and you realize now at this age, like we all have a lot going on.
Oh yeah,
and it's like to get there to every game and coach.
Bro, I was just talking to Jason about it this morning, and my parents never missed a game, and I guess that could lead into the conversation about controlling your time and being able to do those things. And I guess I realized that pretty early in life that I wanted to do that for sure.
Yeah. So I want to get your story because to be honest, man, I'm proud of you for the steps you've taken. Like you got a business that's like up and running and cranking now. Yeah. So take us back, or take anybody back who doesn't know you and your story. Like you were working for a big company.
Well, I would go back
even before that, bro. Like what did you go to school for?
Yeah. So I mean, I think we should start there because I left town. Like as much as I love town, I couldn't get out of town quick enough.
Yeah.
So we played ball together a little bit, and that's what I wanted to aspire to do in college. We had a coach, shout out Sean Hannafy. He's got a son that's trying to get to the league.
Yeah.
And he introduced me down to Bridgewater College, took me down there for a visit my senior year, and man, I loved it. It's beautiful down there. Shenandoah Valley, I mean, really nice area. And then I saw what the tuition was, and I was like, oh, I'm not coming down here to play baseball. And, my mom worked at the University of Delaware, and I got lucky. I got accepted into a tuition exchange program. And so Delaware has these big universities have lists, so they all, they're like conglomerates. They work within each other. So Bridgewater was a sister school of Delaware. So part of, my mom's situation as an employee there, I got free tuition. I had to fill out all these questionnaires, and you got to be deemed, applicable for this and whatnot. So finally, after 2 years, I got accepted into that program.
Nice.
And got down to Bridgewater. But within that time, played at Cecil. Did 2 years there. I only played a year there with Jason. That would have been your second year there, right? Casey would have been our freshman year.
You were going.
Yeah, I was out.
I never played.
Right, so our freshman year would have been your second year. And I went there for the fall ball, and I was like, I didn't keep myself in shape. I was like, these boys are good. And I just didn't follow through with anything. And then the next year was when you came.
Gotcha, and that's when you were going.
Okay, yeah. So you guys played your second year, which would have been my first year out at Youngstown.
Exactly,
right?
Exactly. And that's when, excuse me, that milk in the latte. That's when I was exposed to a different level of athletes.
Yeah.
I mean, there were some boys that played there. It's eye-opening for sure. You start getting these guys, we mentioned we're from a small town. You start getting these guys from outside areas that get pushed for competition. We weren't really pushed for competition when we grew up, and I think that limits a lot of people depending on where you grow up.
It's your environment,
sure.
absolutely.
Definitely environment.
Yeah.
So from there, I went down to Bridgewater, and I tried to play ball down there. Didn't work out. Played a couple weeks on the fall league, and I transferred down there as a junior, right? And they were putting me with the freshman kids, and I just trying to change position on me. That they had guys that played where I wanted to play, and it just wasn't for me. It was college. I had buddies that played football that their practice numbers were triple digits, and we talked, and we were like, man, we just we need to stop the charade. I mean, Mays talked about how much of a grind it is, and you can relate. And it's every day, and that was D3 baseball. So I'm not doing that, and I convinced myself. To hang it up, and it wasn't terribly hard.
Well, I mean,
at that point, the realization kicked in. I was able to start focusing on other things, and I built friendships and relationships, and that was my college experience. I mean, I didn't really learn a whole lot.
What was your degree?
Oh, communication. I started as a business major. I couldn't hack the accounting. There was just too much math, and I was struggling, so I went to a communications major. For some reason, I thought I'd do like broadcast and maybe get into sports. That's all we used to talk about was sports.
Everything was sports, bro.
You have a great voice for broadcasting.
Yeah.
I think everyone will agree with you.
But then I realized there's not a whole lot of money when you get out of school. There's a lot of grind in that aspect of business. A lot of internships, a lot of continued schooling. And I just didn't have it in me anymore.
Yeah, that's a lot of hours, a lot of running.
Yeah, I just didn't have it in me anymore. I was kind of worn out on the aspect of learning new things in an educational aspect. I was ready for a different step in life. I had a friend, an older brother figure that had a home building company. And, early in my senior year, he told me he was going to hire me, so I got to hang out for a bit. I knew I had a job coming out. So I got to enjoy life a little bit at that point. And I came home and built houses for 6 years, ended up being a foreman for him, and we went to the highest highs of custom home buildings to some low points as well, but it taught me a lot. Construction's a rough business. Most businesses in the construction field fail. It's like a 9 out of 10 thing. I mean, especially in new home construction.
Yeah.
It's a very tough business. You have to rely on a lot of people to do things. You talk to Maze about building team members and that kind of stuff.
Inside and outside his company.
Inside and outside, exactly. And, we were good on all fronts, and then we weren't good on some fronts. And it came to the point where I wasn't agreeing where the company was going. And I had a lot of support outside of everything. And I mean, hell, I've been doing work on the side before that. I mean, Jay bought a house, I bought a house. I got to cut my teeth and practice on a lot of my friends where there weren't consequences.
Yeah, thank you. I thank you for that many times.
Oh, yeah. I've remodeled Jay's house twice over already. And and there's been learning experiences along the way, and a lot of it was done a little boozy, so everything might not be straight,
well,
but we're having a good time.
It's funny because Stephen has remodeled all sorts of stuff in my house many times, and Maze has painted my house like 4 times. So between our last 2 guests, they practically built my house. And they're probably sick and tired of me because I can never decide anything. So thanks to Justin and Stephen for your patience and your work.
Well, we appreciate the business.
Continued support.
I'll probably be calling you next week.
I mean, my first job after I quit my job was working on your basement when you lived in Clayton there.
That's right.
I guess I didn't do it the way a lot of people say you should have. The 2 weeks notice, have 6 months of this kept up. I did it on a whim. I did it on a Wednesday morning. I swear I was in the gym locker room.
I was there. I remember this.
I typed up my resignation letter right there at like 7:30 in the morning after a workout. You should work out, it makes your mind clear. And we'll get to that. But I had Jay read it over. He told me to edit some things. That I did not edit. That I did not edit out, and I hit send, and I never looked back. I went that afternoon, turned in everything company related. Jason picked me up, went to the bar. We had a celebratory drink, talked about what we were going to do next. It was like 11 a.m. We went and we had nothing to do. I might as well have been retired at that point.
Yeah.
And
wow.
But it was also when Charlie and Jason and Billy, they were building the bar next door. Like, I had friends that had stuff going on. And also within that business, I was exposed to a different level of person. So, like, when I quit, I was like, oh, no, I got to get back to it. But I also made a network of people that I knew if things got really bad and dark, I'd just pick up a phone.
Well, I think the social support, that's how I would term that. As far as, like, you knew that, like, no matter what, like, you had already made a network of contacts that you could, that were going to throw you work at some point. You're confident in your abilities because you were working on, my place and your place and all sorts of stuff. So, I mean, it was like you said, like you cut ties right then and there.
Immediately.
But you had done enough and made enough relationships where you knew that you were going to make it work.
Well, I had enough people telling me for years leading up to it, like, quit your job. I mean, Jay raised his hand for those that are listening. I mean, years people telling me to quit my job, and it took a lot. It took a lot to do it. I may have done it quick and severed ties quickly, but there was a lot of thought leading up to that. And thank God for the support of my wife too. And I came in. I came inside. It was snowing. I came inside. I was out there. We had a little snow blower on the front of the John Deere. I was out there blowing snow, and I came in. I said, I'm gonna quit my job tomorrow. And she kind of looked at me. She was like, all right. Like, people around me, I guess I I don't know. I don't mince my words too much, I guess. So then I went and told my parents, and my mom started saying something. I told her I didn't come over for permission. I was just letting her know.
Just giving you a heads up.
Yeah, like if you see me around for a few weeks during the day, it's because I no longer have a quote-unquote job.
Yeah. Oh, I love it.
And then we went from there. I mean, I've worked for friends. I've worked for family. I've worked for you talk to most people in this town that we know. I probably don't work for them. You know, you've mentioned Bo and Jason. Those are early guys, and it's because you knew me. It's because Jason. You know, it's all those guys. So it takes a lot of people. It takes a lot of support. It takes a lot of trust. I mean, when
you're betting on yourself, man.
Well, you're betting on yourself. Your friends are betting on you. Like, I don't want to make Jay look bad if he tells somebody, hit Stephen up to get your bathroom done. Like, I got to perform. Like, So there's that aspect of it as well.
Oh yeah, no doubt.
Dude, I just love the fact that you did cut it off like that, because I think so much of our capacity and our brain space gets used up when you're always back and forth about decisions and like, should I do this or I'll wait for that? Like, we just kind of went through something similar with the mortgage business. Like, I shouldn't say a huge shift, pretty big shift for myself personally, not as far as the company goes, but man, you just like, you replay these things in your head and you get on these loops and you're like, I'm not moving forward. I'm like trying to figure out like this next step or something happened. But by doing it the way you did, where it's like, nope, I'm done here. And then you throw yourself to the fire almost, like, you got to make it work.
Right. Yeah. It's just, I've never had a hard time making like big decisions like that. I just go with like a gut feeling. And like I said, it's the people around me. It wasn't on a whim. It may sound like it was on a whim, like I said, but it's a lot of thought that goes into it. And
like a lot led up to that point where you cut it off. But once you made your mind up, it was like,
it was easy. Yeah. So I guess that would be my biggest thing for somebody trying to move or take that next step is start thinking, like, even if you're not going to do it right now, start thinking about it. And I'm not one to write stuff down or any of that. I'm a shoot from the hip type of guy, because every time I try to schedule something or write something down, it doesn't go and I have to reschedule. So, like, I don't know. I've tried this stuff and it just hasn't worked out. I haven't found that right balance of everything quite yet. But I'm able to navigate life pretty clearly. Just by kind of going with an intuition type thing and just trusting myself and just trusting that, like, I'm going to show up and do the work. Like, I'm not relying on somebody else to do the work. Like, I'm going to do the work because I want your money too. So, like, I had an old contractor tell me that. It's like, we get backed up and it's same old story. Contractors have a bad rap. They think we're all out golfing all the time, which I did do this morning. But there's a time and place for things. There's a lot of work that goes into it. There's a lot of thought that goes into these projects. There's a lot of time that's not necessarily spent on the projects as well, picking up material. Talking to architects, that could be depending on the type. Suppliers, what's in, what's not, what's going to take a long time. So it goes back to building those relationships and having people you can talk to and guide you and tell you those things. And, you guys talk about mentors a lot. I can't do this without shouting out Ken White Oak.
Yeah.
But, he taught me more than just a lot of the skills I have, the setting tile. That's what kind of drove me, my business early on. Mm-hmm. But that kind of stuff was almost self-learned. He showed me the ins and outs of that. But mostly taught me how to like deal with people and deal with customers and
manage relationships.
Yeah, manage relationships, good, bad, indifferent. A lot of times you have to give some bad news, and when you're dealing with people and their money directly, giving bad news and that type of thing doesn't always go over smoothly. But if you can talk to the people and you're knowledgeable, you're authentic, there's got to be trust both ways, and I guess I try to build that up with my clientele as well.
Yeah, I think I think one of the things that your industry probably does get a bad rap for is communication, and I say that because I'm a realtor and I deal with people who talk a lot about. I tried to have somebody out here, but they didn't call me back. They didn't do this, they didn't do that, they didn't do this. So the communication aspect that Ken was able to help you with, or however you want to term that, I think that's a very, very underrated skill in every industry, but especially yours.
Oh, yeah. I mean, there's a lot to manage when it comes to building. You got to manage yourself. Things get going early. So we talk about, managing personal time and squeezing everything in that, you want to squeeze into a day. And, as you get older in life, sometimes life just gets busy in general. You talk about kids. You got 2 kids. I got 1. Jay's a, quote. He got 0, but quote unquote. Bonus. He's got a bonus child in there. There's just so many things to do in life, and having somebody help navigate that and show you where like the important things are. So one of the most important things Ken did for me was, as much as we love sports and talk about that kind of stuff, I used to be too emotionally attached to it. Monday morning comes around, the Eagles just blew a 2-touchdown lead, and they lost. I'm down in the dumps for the day and not productive and not doing anything. And he looked at me straight in the eye and he said, "They don't care about you. You got to stop caring about them. Like, you can enjoy it within the time frame of those things, but let's focus. Time to like focus and take the next step." And that really helped. That really helped me grow. And show me some things that were more important than the novelty things that we think are important in life.
Well, and I think me and Case talk about this stuff all the time, but like, I know that as all 3 of us, I don't know why I was going to say 2 or 4. All
it's 3. There's a 4th mic.
There is. all 3 of us, aspire to do bigger things. It just feels like, although I know you love baseball. Yeah. I love the Eagles. I know Stephen loves the Eagles.
Shit, we just went to the NFC Championship game, man. I mean, we love them, but...
And we love Carolina basketball, the whole deal. Like, that's almost, to me, I was thinking about this a lot today, it seems like a distraction from, like, achieving something. Yeah. Like, those things serve more as a distraction than they do as something that is a productive activity. Like, I feel like I distract my way out of so many things that I want, whether it's on my phone, whether it's the Eagles or whatever.
Well, as a distraction, I kind of look at it as entertainment now. Like, if
it's 100%.
Yeah. I mean, obviously it's entertainment, and that's kind of what I chalk it up as. I don't consume a whole lot of stuff outside of that. Like, if I'm going to sit down and watch something, I'm going to sit down and watch the Eagles game. Like, that's what I want to do. I'm going to set the time aside for that. But that 4 or 5 hours, whatever that is. After that, like, whatever that game could have not happened or could have happened.
Yeah.
And it's exciting. Like, I got a trip planned with my buddy who lives in Tampa. I'm going to go down and watch the Eagles beat Tampa this year and have a good old time. But at the end of it, I know I got to come back and do what I need to do. So if I'm not going to ruin my day if they don't lose. I mean, I have to listen to a lot of shit from him. But, I enjoy that aspect and that time frame, but that's what that time frame's for. It doesn't really linger outside of that anymore.
Yeah. We've all had that evolution, I think, the 3 of us, for sure, of, like, that used to be, like you said, get emotionally attached to it. It affects your day, your week, and then it's like...
and it's the beginning of the week. So, like, if you're messing up your Monday, like, Tuesday's hard, Wednesday's hard, and so...
Not to mention, at least me and Steven, were getting wrapped watching those football games.
Yeah, come on, we were getting loose, man. I mean, why not? We had nothing else to do. I mean, and we were conditioned to that, right? We had been doing it for so long, and, I don't do that anymore either. I mean, the heavy drinking's done. Yeah. I'm going to have some buddies up next week, and we'll pass around the bottle. But as far as the heavy drinking, I know Jay's sober. He's talked about it many times on here. I've become, semi-sober because of him. He was a drinking buddy of mine. That's what we did together. And I don't know if I was an enabler to him as much as he was to me, whatever you want to call that. But Fridays were spent at a local, Thursdays, but no, we tried to get in early afternoon, and we'd have a drink and we'd talk about our day, our week, and go from there. And then, I think one of the last times we really got after it is when we thought we got drugged. Remember?
Oh yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
That's one of the last times I drank heavily. I woke up on the couch, had no idea how I got there, no idea, and we had just met for a couple of drinks that day, and it was really scary. And I made a dedication to my wife that I'd stop driving drunk because that was one of my problems, and you got to recognize your problems, right? Yeah. So I've definitely backed off the booze for sure, and I've seen the positive things it's done for Jason.
Heck yeah.
Yeah. And man, just roll with it. There's a lot of positive aspects to it. Now, I'm not saying those people, like I just said, I'm going to pass a bottle around next week. It's okay to like have moderation in your life, but life can go on without the heavy drinking for anybody.
Well, like you said, it's about being self-aware. It's about like, for me, it was a problem. For some people who drink pretty casually, routinely, whatever you want to call it, it may not affect them as much.
Right. Yeah.
But it affected me a lot. Like,
exactly. And I think that's
just recognizing.
Well, it's not a blanket thing. I mean, it's just like just like any drug, things do different things to different people. So that aspect of it, I think, is I think people are becoming more aware of it too.
Yeah,
definitely.
Sure.
I mean, we surround ourselves with people that aren't. It's who you surround yourself with.
Yeah.
I bartended forever, man. I mean, I was in that lifestyle, and I guess that kind of turned me off to it too. When you're serving people, I don't know. I'm not trying to downplay or anybody's lifestyle, but like, I didn't want to be the middle-aged adult that had a kid, but I wanted to escape to the bar. I just couldn't be that.
Yeah, like Pat was talking about last week. Not that Pat was at the bar, but that his daughter is sitting there saying, "Daddy, play with me," and he's like, "I'd rather crack a beer on the couch."
Yeah.
And
I kind of eliminated that early on.
Yeah.
So
for the better.
Yeah, and I think like the way I look at it is like everyone has to form a version of themselves in their mind that they want to be, and then you kind of work backwards from that. Like what are the things that are stopping you from doing that? Is it the drinks on Thursday night? Is it spending 8 hours like on a Sunday watching football? But then you have to identify those things that are stopping you from getting to the person you want to be, and then like eliminate them or limit them. I mean, that's really kind of what it comes down to.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta have some discipline in your life, right?
Yep.
Well, that's and we've talked about this too. Like, not everybody wants the same thing.
Yep.
No.
Right? I think
not at all.
So it's all about what you want.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all about what you want. Like this weekend, there's going to be how many boaters out there?
Mm-hmm.
It used to be one of them. What was your question earlier?
Oh yeah, I was going to say and you have a boat.
Yeah.
Right.
We'll be out tonight as soon as we get done here.
Okay, so that doesn't necessarily apply to Case, but
I'm very jealous.
Steve's boat's in his driveway. May or may not be working. I don't even
it's
know.
not running. She's still
So unofficial
for
start
good reason
this summer.
Yep.
Right. So I was going to say on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being you miss it like crazy, and 1 being you don't miss it at all. How much do you miss boating?
like an 8. Like it's
Like
pretty
an 8.
heavy. Like an 8.
You
I
miss
think
it,
about
okay.
it. Yeah, I miss it. There's
Wait,
nothing.
when you said you're not getting another boat, I was like,
I don't
know how you
You don't miss it,
I
but see,
don't.
mine's like an adrenaline thing too.
Yeah.
Like I got a fast boat. I like to go fast,
Yeah.
and I miss that aspect of it.
Yeah, I don't.
So like I need that jolt in my life.
And Nick will listen to this, and he loves boating. So please don't take this the wrong
Well,
way.
I'm gonna bump boat rides off Nick and Casey this year since mine's not running. I was the friend with the boat for so long, and now I'm the friend with the boat in the driveway. But that's all right.
And
but
don't
that used
post
to
this
be
at Bohemian River Boaters either, because I will get blacklisted.
well. We used to.
If they hear this.
I mean, that was a big waste of time. Not a big waste of time, but like we used to spend Friday night getting ready for Saturday. Saturday was a complete shit show, depending on what Saturday it was.
talking all day too.
We're talking
7 in the morning until.
Oh, I'm getting up and
all
we're
night.
at the ramp and we're getting in and we're getting a good spot in Lloyd's Creek and we're going to be there for the day. So if you're coming out, like, don't make plans. Like, we're going to be there. And that was every day for 5, 6, 7 summer, or not every day, but every weekend. Mm-hmm. And I mean, even before that, we were on the water doing stupid stuff, tubing and all that.
But boating for you is a little. I would imagine a little.
It is
different.
now. I went through that stretch as well.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. We can get to that point. I mean, I think that's the next thing that's going to drive me is getting little buddy out there.
Yeah, you have a pontoon soon enough with like a 300 on the back of it going like 70.
Yeah, we might want to get someone with like an aft cabin. Something to stay on like a weekender.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's part of where we live, man. I love being out there.
Yeah,
So
insane.
I do miss it. But if you would have caught me 4 or 5 years ago, I wouldn't be here talking to you guys. I'd be trying to get my
Can
boat
we do
ready.
the podcast from the boat?
Yeah. Especially
Next
it's a beautiful
episode,
day.
we will be live, bro.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just an evolution, man. It is for us, and for some people, maybe they're. I don't know. I mean, there's plenty of people that haven't gotten to this point in the evolution.
Or they don't want to. They want to spend their weekends on the water. They want to. They want to do the things they want to do. They're happy in life, and by all means, stay happy in life because that's like the big thing. But they're also go ahead.
Yeah. So my biggest problem, and it used to be my problem with me, but I have a problem with when like you're doing something and saying you want something and you're complaining, but those two things conflict. Like, like if you're complaining that you're not making enough money, or if you're complaining that you don't have a better job, if you're complaining that this, but every weekend you go out on a boat and you get hammered drunk. Like that's when I get like
you want a boat, but you're on somebody else's boat. You know what I mean? Like take a few summers.
Yeah, right. Like I think
then you get your own shit.
Yeah, I think
I mean that's kind of
if that's really what you want, all those things that you say. then some of the stuff you have to sacrifice. You
have to give up.
Some of the other stuff you have to give up.
Yeah.
And that's when that's what really bothers me. And I used to, feel that same way. And it's like, now that I've stopped drinking and, stopped a lot of the stupid stuff that I used to do, although we had lots of fun.
Oh, yeah.
That just is what it is. That's part of life. I can see that now I'm making progress in a lot of different areas because I've gotten rid of the stuff that got in the way.
You got rid of some noise, man. Everybody, you got to get rid of some of the noise. And luckily, I think it really all just comes around who you surround yourself with. We all have good families, good friends. I have an extensive group of friends that just give me different perspectives on life. I mean, when I left town, I went to a place I didn't know anybody. I had to reintroduce myself to a whole new world of people, and we're from a small town. I met another group of dudes that are from a small town, and now I'm like from a small town there. I get to go in the back door of the kitchen down there. So there's a lot of people out there that are just like us that are trying to get ahead and go through the same battles and struggles and being able to talk those things through and motivate each other. Friends with kids now, like we're going to lean on each other for that kind of stuff, especially as they get older and.
Yeah, I'll be leaning on y'all.
So it's life's good, but it's also a lot of work to get to like a good life. There's a lot of sacrifice in time. There's a lot of effort in keeping relationships and growing them. And man, there's just I don't have a lot of downtime in my life. And I think that's what keeps me focused on what I enjoy is I do everything I enjoy. And it takes a lot, but I'm willing to drive the 3 hours to see my buddy in Virginia and play golf and drive 3 hours back all on the same day. I'm willing to get up at 4 a.m. to work out with this guy. There's just different sacrifices you make that sometimes we get into situations in life where you can't make them. You have other things that have to take priority, but you can make things a priority if you want them to be.
Yeah, there's big time.
There's time for it.
Yeah, you made a comment earlier. I can't remember exactly what you said, but you said something about not that you live not like a simple. I can't remember exactly how you put it, but basically that like you try to you make it not complicated.
Yeah,
right.
I mean, I've gotten rid of a lot of distractions in my life.
So on the flip side of the distractions, though, what are your pillars of things that you're like, all right, this is getting done? Like working out at 4 a.m. with Jason being one of them.
Like daily things that just keep me going.
Yeah.
That's the basis. That's the foundation. I mean, when I say I do the work, I do the work. So I don't know if you've ever laid tile, but a box of tiles probably 40, 50 pounds. Lug 40 or 50 of them upstairs for a second story remodel. Like you'll be feeling it. So like I have to work out, and I realized that early on. And Jay has to work out to help me carry the other heavy things.
Vanities.
With some of these vanities I have to, and so I look at these other companies. I don't know how they get them up there because Jay and I are pretty strong dudes, and it takes everything we have to get them up.
It's a precarious situation.
Yeah, for sure. But it just helps me get going. There's something about being up before everybody else. We have to drive through town. I have to drive through a small town, through Cecilton. And there's nobody up. There's nobody up in the morning, and there's something about that will. It just clicks in you, and I've been doing it for a long time. I used to have to get up there even earlier. We used to get at the gym at 4:30 in the morning because I had to be on the site. When you're a foreman, you got to be there before everybody.
Yeah.
So I had to be on site at 7:30, 45-minute drive there, do the math. So, we were at the gym at 4:30, shower there, get in. That includes, having your food ready. Like I've been doing it for a long time, and it's just second nature. Like you could take a dart and throw it at a calendar, and I could probably tell you what I ate for breakfast and lunch that day.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think when you were kind of talking about leaving your job at the bigger company and then starting your own, like a part of that confidence probably came from the fact that like you've already dedicated yourself like in working out early. As dumb as that may sound, or as little as that may sound, you've already dedicated yourself to something that most people won't do.
Well, it's the delayed gratification aspect of it. I think I know. Everything comes in time. I've had incredible patience somehow through my life. I think my dad taught me that. We restored a car. It took 4.5 years. And when you're a 16-year-old dude with a muscle car, you just want that thing to run. And I couldn't. I had to wait.
4.5 days would be nice.
Yeah, so I learned patience early in life, and that's helped me a lot too, to get where I'm at and be at a good spot. And But other daily things in my life, like I said, the diet's been tight. I stay hydrated. I do all the things. Like I've been doing a lot of the things that are, people are starting to do now.
Yeah,
like,
just now getting popular. Yeah,
that are just now getting popular. Jay and I have had these conversations for a long time, and you go to a doctor. One of the first things they should ask you is, what do you eat? What are you feeding yourself? You go to a vet, the first thing they ask you, what are you feeding your dog? The dog doesn't feel good, what are you feeding yourself?
Yeah.
So I take that very seriously. I feel better. I'm more clear. I know when I eat something bad, I can tell I don't feel good.
Yeah.
So that helps me stay on the, whatever you want to call it, diet, nutrition, whatever. So that's
health,
a big.
Health is a huge one.
Health keeps everything. I mean, it from the physicality of the job, but also the stressors of the mental aspects of
it.
And
that's really what I was getting at.
It's foggy up top, man.
Yeah, as far as like the commitment aspect of it, like you had mentally, you physically committed to something, but you had decided that you had made a commitment to be healthy for an extended period of time. So like, what's starting a business?
Yeah, exactly. We already did hard stuff, and I went through the not getting made fun of, but the social aspect of eating the same thing every day for lunch, especially when you're with construction guys. They want to go out and get a burger, maybe a beer. What are we getting from the convenience store? It's like, I can't eat that, man. I just knew, like, I was a fat kid, so like I've always battled that kind of internal thing.
Same.
And I got rid of him early. And I mean, I battle him every day. Like there's some things I'll still put down a whole pizza if given the opportunity. Yeah. Mm-hmm. But I have some
balance,
just some balance and sacrifice. I mean, that's just mouth pleasure. I mean, those things go away after a couple minutes. Cravings go away. You did the fasting. I mean, you wait 5 minutes. You drink a glass of water. Like we overconsume as people anyway. Like people take in too many calories to begin with. You guys, who were you talking with? Mark. You were talking about Mark
Butler, probably.
Yeah. And I don't think people really know how many calories they're taking in on a daily.
On either side of that.
On either side of that, low or high. Yeah. I don't know the caloric intake of this latte right here, but I have a latte maybe once a week. But the people that are going to Dunkin' and getting a latte every day, you're probably taking in like 700-800 of calories first thing just in the morning that have no nutritional value.
Yeah, so I have
oh my gosh, you're not your body's going to want those sugary things, it's going to want those bad things when you start your day with that. And like the headache, like I don't know. I've lived unhealthy and I've lived healthy, and it feels much better to feel better. Like
agreed. Yeah, agreed, man. And like it's not that complicated either. Like people always want the hack, or they want like what's 3 things you should avoid or 3 things you should eat. It's like honestly, and I'm not a doctor, but I mean if you eat like food that's as close to like a whole food as you can, you're probably going to feel a lot better.
Yeah, for the most part. I mean, you could just sum it up as non-processed, nutrient-dense foods.
Well, the Western diet is tough to begin with because we were fed a load of crap from the get-go.
Continue to be.
Yeah, and continue to be. There's a lot of junk.
Pun intended. Fed a load of crap.
Yeah. There's a lot of junk in food, man, and there just is. I don't eat anything with like added color in it now. Like why would you want to add color to something? I don't know. I just try to avoid those things, and my diet. We're not doctors, but we're talking diet right now. I eat 6 eggs a day, some type of carb. People carbs or not, whatever. I work out in the morning. I need some fuel.
Everybody needs carbs.
Everybody needs carbs.
My opinion.
Yeah. So
we're not carnivore here.
Look, so have some eggs in your diet. Have some simple carbs in your diet. Then lunch, have another protein and another carb. I cycle right now. I'm eating some fish during the day with white rice, but it could be, it could be ground turkey and sweet potatoes. I was on that for a while. It could be chicken and rice. It can get bland. It can get boring, but so can life sometimes. You got to, like, what do you want?
Well, and you said everybody's looking for the next fad, whatever.
Yeah, it's like consistency.
I'm finding this in the training world too. I'm 100% with you in general. As far as eating goes, like Stephen said, like every morning for me, without fail, unless I go to Cafe on the Bay and I'm getting something similar there. Shout out Tammy. I'm eating 6 whole eggs and at least 2 egg whites a day in the morning. The lunch is the same, pretty much. Dinner's the same. It's like some minor tweaks. But in the training world, when I used to program workouts, I was always thinking like, how can I keep the kids interested, A, by, like, doing something different every day, but also, like, I thought that's what, like, you always heard, like, confuse the body, you know, like, do something different all the time. Yeah, we made progress and whatnot, but now I'm working with the ATG system. Knees over toes guy. Shout out Ben Patrick.
Yeah, Ben, you've changed my life.
A lot of the same stuff, like on a daily basis, and the progress I'm seeing with these kids is nuts.
Shout out to Jay right now. If you have ailments, I don't know if he's officially announced his next venture in life, but start reaching out if you have shoulder pain, any type of pain in your body. I
also
can attest.
Not a doctor.
He's not a doctor, but there's techniques to fix these things, and the more you know, the more you know. And they're not real hard movements. I've completely changed my lower body. I struggled with knee problems from a young age, and doing the flooring and stuff. I could be on my knees for 6, 7, 8 hours a day sometimes, and it would swell up. And that's day after day after day. You just deal with it. For the last 8 months we've been training. I mean, we've been training.
I was trying not to go off on my laugh tangent. I'll tell you guys after the
fact. Oh, okay. Yeah. Oh, the on my knees. Okay, let's get back to business. So, Jay's now certified in a certain type of training that's transformed most of my joints, and definitely starting from like the lower body. I have brand new knees. I have no knee pain. We get after it. And,
I'm getting on that.
Yeah,
you should, bro.
You should. It takes a while, but like the way I look at health. You said it, 6 months. You said it on, I don't know what podcast it was, but like, if you're going to be alive in 6 months, don't you want to feel better in 6 months? Like, just take the steps. Like, you're going to be living anyway. And like, oh, it's expensive, it's tough. Well, wait till you're like, can't walk.
Yeah, what's more expensive? Back surgery in a year, or like a gym membership for 6 months and like showing up every day?
Yeah, that kind of or not eating processed food, like buying the better food, because in 10, 20 years of you eating that processed stuff, you're probably going to be on some type of pill.
Yeah.
That's just it. And they're not going to tell you to change your diet. They're going to say, take this and continue eating what you're eating.
Yeah.
Yep. So, I think, we just need to take, everyone out there listening and all of us individually need to take some responsibility and some control over, like, your life, your finances, your health, your diet.
It's not getting any easier.
And nobody's coming to save any of us. Like, there's not going to be, like, this magical, whatever, politician or... like, no one's coming to save you. So, get your stuff in line for yourself.
Yeah, I was in line at Walmart the other day. I went to register because the self-checkout wouldn't take a gift card, whatever. It was a disaster. So I had to go through the one line that was open. And it was a couple older women, and that's what they were complaining about, how Social Security was running out and all this stuff. And they turned to me and they were like, you better get, I can't even remember what they said. I wasn't, I didn't really care because I don't rely on the government. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like you said, there's nobody coming to, lady, I make my own money now. I'm not worried about that. I don't have to worry. I mean, hopefully I don't have to worry about that. Like, I'm not counting on something to save me. Like, that's what gets me up every day.
And like when I was growing up, all I could think about, like as I graduated college and got into a new job, it's like, oh man, like when I'm 34 or 35, like I'll be so much more financially secure. And it's like, maybe.
Yeah.
But like if you don't take personal responsibility for everything that you're doing, all the money that you're spending, your health, what you consume.
They all link to each other.
Yeah,
they all do.
If you're worried about something that's not just going to happen on its own. Like you actually, like you said, have to take control.
Yeah, I mean, you're worried about finances. Like you're probably going to work more, which then you'll say, I don't have time to work out. I don't have this. I don't have that. Like the stress builds up, and that leads to stress. Usually leads to like laziness and like procrastination. At least in my life, like when I get overwhelmed, that's when I know. That's when I usually make a poor decision when I'm getting overwhelmed. So like if I have to work on anything, it's that because. I can look at my phone right now. I probably have 60 unread text messages from friends, family, customers, potential customers. Like, there's just a lot that goes on in life, and you can't always get back to everybody. So if you're trying to get a hold of me, sorry. But I will get back to you. I care about everybody. But you also have to keep the main thing, and I think a lot of people don't do that. They may think they are, but they're really not.
And do you think that's more of people just wanting to keep other people happy versus keeping themselves happy? Because I think that's like I think I fall into that sometimes. I'm like, you don't want to upset someone else or like be judged by them because you don't respond, or you know what I mean. Like I do have that goes on in my own head.
I used to, and it's because we're kind of conditioned like that with these darn cell phones. Not to sound like an old timer, but like
true.
Everybody feels like they can get a hold of everybody at any point in time. Like,
100%.
nah, there's boundaries. Like, I put my phone down. My phone goes silent at 8:45 at night. If you try to get a hold of me, unless I actively open my phone, open my messages,
if I text
I'm not going to see
after
it.
a certain time, like, he might give. It's usually about like the gym time the next morning, but like I know he's going to see it in time to wake up. But like usually like after like a certain amount of time is.
I put my phone away, and I haven't done it for a while now, but I'm trying to be more active in doing that just because I have a lot going on. I mean, besides running a business, I've been remodeling my house for 7 years.
Well, there's
always something.
At home and
I got a baby. There's always something for me to do rather than to sit on my phone. So like I have to like put it away. I just don't. Yeah. I take it out of my pocket. I leave it inside. I do whatever I have to do to like get away from the thing. There's enough people. You got to get a hold of me. Like you can find me. I'm sure. And most of the people, if it's an emergency, they. We'll figure it out.
Yeah. Pat gave some really good perspective on this. And I think he said something about a quote like you're like 10 years from now, you're not going to remember the text that you checked at 9:45 and the customer you got back to.
No.
But your kid might remember that you went outside and like had a race with him or played tag with him.
Well, yeah. And that goes back to like why I kind of a smaller business. Like, I don't want to have to deal with those things. I used to have to deal with those things. Being a project manager, we were building townhomes at that time, so we were building them 6 and 8 at a time and putting homeowners in them. So as that happens, I was building the houses, but also servicing the homeowners, and customers don't care what time of day it is, whether or it's a weekend or things like that, and which is understandable, but at the same time, you got to have your own life. Like, it's still, there are business hours to do business. And if it's that urgent or somebody thinks that they're more important and gets upset at me for not responding, like, I'm sorry. Like, I told you a while ago, like, if Heather's good, like, I'm good. Like, I've gotten to that point in my life where, like, and Levi now, but, if my wife's happy with me, then, like, all's good. I can come home at the end of the day, enjoy our evening together. I get back to it tomorrow, but, yeah.
Yeah, I think that's so important to stay close. Like everyone, I shouldn't say everyone. I have these visions, and we talk a lot about, like, we want to make a difference in the world, really. But, like, when you look at that, well, how do you make a difference in the world? Well, you have to start with yourself, first and foremost, and your family that's closest to you, and then your circle of friends, and then your community, and then that, like, ripples out. But if you sacrifice your family and, like, the things closest to you for whatever
for work,
you're never gonna get there. Yeah, we've all done it.
I've done it, and I'm not proud that I've done it, but it's sometimes required. But you learn what's more important as you go on, for sure.
And that's the way that you learn anything. You usually have to do something, realize this probably wasn't the best thing to do, and then you evolve from that. You know what I mean?
For sure.
And not all of the best decisions in my life, because there have been some amazing decisions in my life that were additions in my life, but a lot of the best decisions that I made were removing things, and I think removing those things that weren't healthy to your personal family life, probably for the best.
Or your vision, where you're trying to go in life. If there's something holding you back and you're able to eliminate it, like there's certain things that you're not able to eliminate in life, but the things that you can control, why wouldn't you control them?
Mm-hmm. I can tell you one thing that's not getting eliminated, and that's this podcast, because I really do enjoy doing this.
Yeah.
I know for you, it's like you said, first time being on one and like probably out of your comfort zone, but
a little bit. But we're friends, so it's like we're just talking here. Yeah, so we'll see when it comes out.
Next week.
Well, we definitely appreciate you being on, and I kind of want to get to like, what's your vision? So you started this company. You said you purposefully have kept it at a smaller size, right? Manageable, and you're doing the work. Yep. Like, what's your vision for the company? Is it
this exact thing for as long as I can possibly do?
Love it, dude.
I've talked to a lot of contractors that have expanded. They get teams of people. That's more people to manage. I used to manage people. I used to manage the home building process from the time the engineer was out laying out the site to the shovel going in the ground to the last screw getting put in the house number on the front door. I used to manage a lot of people, and I just have no interest in doing that anymore. I like to manage myself. My dad gives me a hand. I have a couple buddies that own business. We contract each other out. But for the most part, my vision is to have as much freedom as possible.
Mm-hmm. And still make a living.
Yeah.
Love it.
Cool.
Yeah. So, and real quick, too, for anybody, how do they get a hold of you? I know not texting apparently. He's got 60 on red, but you got a Facebook page and all that.
Text is a good one because I will get back. I have a buddy that he told me you got to leave him on red so you know to get back.
Yeah.
So you will get a response. I try to respond in like 48 hours. Yeah. I think that's meaningful. It used to be 24, but like 48. I'm sorry, unless it's an emergency. I think 48 is pretty good. But if you want to get a hold of me, it's pretty organic growth. I don't do much advertising. It's all been word of mouth. I get a lot of random calls from people that got my number from Jason, from Casey, from Charlie, from Remo, from whatever. But Facebook would be probably the only way to get a hold of me unless you know somebody that knows me. So hit Jason or Casey.
Yeah, so put a comment on the YouTube video and we will connect you with
it's just the way I kind of want to grow and I like the organic aspect of it. Most of the people I work for, I have some type of relationship with before I go in their house. A lot of trust working in people's houses. They're living remodels. People are trying to conduct their lives accordingly while I'm ripping apart a kitchen or a bathroom. It gets pretty stressful. You take a family of 5 from 2 bathrooms down to 1 for 4 or 5 weeks with adolescent daughters. Sharing a bathroom with their dad. Like that gets it can get kind of heated, and I'm right in the middle of that. But I also have complete control over it. So I guess, so really it's not to scale, it's to keep providing, a custom aspect to my customer. And, I'm the only one in the house. And COVID kind of changed people's perspective on that. Some of these bigger companies, I'm not talking bad about anybody's company. This isn't talking negative. But you get a sales guy in, then you might have a painter, a plumber, HVAC guy. You got your cabinet setter, you got the tile guy, then you got, a cleaner that comes in and whether you got to get it inspected. So there can be a lot of people that are getting ran through your house. One of my biggest selling points is it's like me and maybe one other guy.
Yeah.
Like who's in your house.
Right.
That's all day, every day.
Love it.
Kind of where I'm at.
All right. Well, we appreciate you, brother. And you guys, until next time. We will be back with another awesome guest. If you guys have suggestions for guests too,
throw them out.
Yeah, we got a couple people lined up here the next, I think, 3 weeks. But we're always looking to talk to people that have experience in different things or have something to promote, maybe a different view of things.
Come on here and tell us we're morons.
Yeah, we would love to hear that too.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I'm not going to do that because you guys are good friends of mine and. Both inspirations for sure. Casey, being back, we all started our professional career, quote unquote professional careers, linked to each other in a certain aspect.
Yeah, of things. Absolutely.
So it's cool to see your growth and your growth. And
thank you.
We're all getting into things that should be around for a long time and be able to definitely service the community and be faces essentially.
We all care.
Yeah. There's no doubt.
For sure.
Love it. All right, guys. Till next time.
Peace.
Peace out.